Hare Krishna, thank you for joining this morning. We'll start with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Gir Vardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Gir Vardhari Shodanandana Vraj Janaranjana Shodanandana Vraj Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shurugurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Prishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranmami Hari Priye Vanchakalpata Brihascha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Go Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpatam Vandeshi Gurundin Taranam Paramanandam Adam Shishtaneshram Hariyam Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jem Uduriyat Nashta Prashabdreshu Nityam Bhāgavata-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. Okay. So last time, we started topic of the departure of Lord Krishna, chapter 14, and last time we were discussing how Arjuna had gone to Dwarka to get further instructions, because their life revolved around Krishna's interests, to please Krishna, and they want to know, where do we go from here? What would you like us to do? and then he doesn't return for many, many months, and there are many inauspicious signs, and those signs could only be there if there was no Krishna there in Dwarka or in our lives. Only then we get those signs, and Kali Yuga was also ready to enter. As soon as Krishna goes, then we cannot enter while Krishna is here. So when Krishna goes, Kali Yuga will enter, at least attempt to enter the planet Earth. And then we was talking about the seesaw of Maya and spirituality in our lives. How we are if the spiritual side is heavier, then there's less chance that we will tilt towards Maya, and the other way around. If the Maya side is heavy, we'll keep going back to Maya all the time. Or even if they're equal, we're juggling from one to other. So we've got to make the spiritual side a bit more heavier, more stronger, so we don't lean towards the Maya. So let's continue with verse 4. Okay. So verse 4, Jimam prayam vyaviritam Shatya mishram cha suradam Pitar matar surad bratr dam patinam cha kalkanam. So jim prayam, cheating, vyavaharitam, in all ordinary transactions, Shatya, duplicity, mishram, adulterated in, cha, and sohradam, regarding friendly well wishes, Pitr, father, matra, regarding the mother, Suhurat, well wishes, Bratra, one's own brother, Dam, patinam, regarding husband and wife, Cha, also kalkanam, mutual quarrel. It's amazing how Sanskrit can just put words together, shorter versions. All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating. And these are the symptoms, even between friends and in familial affairs. There was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well-wishers, and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel. And we see that more and more as life goes. Every decade things change so much. News, giving you so much Kali Yuga symptoms going on. A conditioned living being is endowed with 4 principles of malpractice, namely errors, insanity, inability, and cheating. That's our 4 defects. Right? So these are signs of imperfection, and out of the 4, the propensity to cheat other is most prominent. This is like something we do every day. We cheat. So, in other words, we commit mistakes, we have imperfect senses, and we have the propensity to cheat, and inability. Insanity is imperfectness, errors, making mistakes, cheating people. What's the 4th one?
Illusion.
Yeah. So insanity actually is the illusion in this case, and the inability could be taken as the imperfect senses. So this is slightly written them differently, but these are the 4 defects of the conditioned soul. These are signs of imperfection, and out of the 4, the propensity to cheat others is most prominent. And this cheating practice is there in the conditioned souls. So this practice is not there in the pure soul, it's there in the conditioned soul. Because the conditioned souls are primarily in the material world, imbued with an unnatural desire to lord it over the material world. A living being in his pure state is not conditioned by the laws, because in his pure state he is conscious that the living being is eternally subservient to the Supreme Being. So when we are surrendered, we don't try to cheat and do malpractice. And thus it is always good for him to remain subservient instead of forcefully trying to lord it over the property of the Supreme Lord. In the conditioned state, the living is not satisfied even if he actually becomes the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes a victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relations. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs, there is no harmony, even between father and sons or between husband and wife, but all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by counteraction through devotional service to the Lord and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhishthira, having observed the disparities, conjectured the disappearance of the Lord from the earth. So these four conditions we have, defects we have, but when they come really obvious, very strong, then something is wrong. And these four things, when you're not Krishna conscious person, they are very well, they're very obvious, prominent in the people who are not, following dharma, right? Because our imperfect senses and always being illusion, committing mistakes, cheating people. Unless you're following dharma, you're going to cheat people, and unless you're following shastra, you're going to commit mistakes. You're going to be in illusion, and you're going to try and use your own senses to understand things which are imperfect. So without having the chakshu, shastra chakshu, we will have all these four defects. So it's recommended that we do things through dharma, through shastra, and live our life that way instead of having our own concoctions about life. So this is 4. So it's mentioned that these symptoms were witnessed by Yudhishthira 5,000 years ago. That was 5,000 years ago when Kali Yuga just came in. It was very, very fresh, very new. Kali Yuga just entering, and now it's matured after 5,000 years. It really managed to get its teeth into things, and now we are witnessing a little intense version of it. I mean, there's still plenty of time to go, but it is now, become very expert, so to speak. Although Kali had made its presence after the battle of Kurukshetra, it could not do its work. It couldn't influence. While Krishna was present, Yudhishthira Maharaj had ruled for 35 years. Having Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in every home means there will be light in every home. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong one now. By bringing Krishna into our lives, we will be empowered to deal with Kali. When people become frustrated from failure again and again, it can lead to suicide. They don't have any other solution. We are getting to know why these things are happening, then that knowledge is really powerful to alleviate the negative experience of being in this material world and this material life. So Shastra and this knowledge, transcendent knowledge, is very, very important, so we can understand, put things into perspective. We can also understand that there is light through the tunnel. It's not like everything is lost. Soon as something happens, we think it's all over. My life is ruined. This and that. I'm never gonna be the same again. But when you understand the temporariness of things, and you understand the things are like like seasons of the year. They come and go. So when you then start looking, our bodies are temporary, and everything comes in cycles, and we have changed so many bodies, we've had so many parents, we've had so many children, wealth comes and goes, it's very temporary. When the kind of things that bother us, or we take very seriously, when you look at them through the eyes of the Shastra, they don't seem that important anymore. We're not going to commit suicide over them, that's for sure. So when people become frustrated from failure again and again, it can lead to suicide. They don't have any solution. We are getting to know why these things are happening. Then that knowledge is really powerful to alleviate the next experience of being in this material world and this material life. Absolutely. So next one. Nimitani yatyaristani kaletav anugate nirnam lobhadi adharam prakritim drishtvo vachanujam nirpaha. Nimitani causes ati very serious, aristani bad omens, kale in course of time, tu but anugate passing away, nirnam of humanity at large, lobha adi such as greed, adharma religious, prakritim habits, drištva having observed, vacha said, anujam young brother, nirpaha the king. So in course of time, it came to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhishthira, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother. So all these things, you think, how is Maharaj noticing all these things? Well, I'm sure they have like a court. He's Dharmaraj. So I'm sure they have like a court every morning, and the kind of cases now are suddenly coming in. Maharaj can judge from there. Like a judge or lawyer, go home and say, it's going crazy. Kind of people, the kind of things people are doing. That the kind of cases now we are handling. What's the world coming to? So Maharaj, I would guess that Maharaj Yudhishthira is getting all these cases where brothers are killing brothers, and this problem between fathers and sons, and husbands and wives over greed, anger, pride, whatever the reason that there is. That's so he knows from there. That's like his barometer. Is checking this is what's going on outside. Kind of cases that are coming in. Doing book distribution on Saturday, and I saw this man. He looked a bit disturbed. He's sitting on a bench. He looked a bit disturbed. I went to speak to him. I thought maybe I can pass some knowledge on to him and help him. And he was he came. He heard me, and he didn't say I don't want to listen. He was hearing. But then he was like locked into something. I think he's been fighting with his wife or something, and he started offloading on me about relationships. And he said to me, I think he's been probably in prison as well. And he says when you go in prison, most of the cases there, the people are locked up who have been beating their wives, and now they're in prison. He said that's you would think drug dealers and other kind of crimes, people are there in prison, but he's telling me that it's violent related, domestic abuse, and the wives that drove him to, fighting and this and that. I think he had similar problems, his wife, she's relentless, he won't let go, then he has to hit her, then they end up in prison. So the husband and wives, they can't tolerate each other. I wouldn't necessarily it's one side's fault, both not giving in to each other, whether it's anger or pride, whatever the reason, they just won't give in, and they end up fighting, and one ends up in jail, other one probably ends up in hospital. So that's the age of quarrel. Everybody's quarreling, and Maharaj is just probably seeing these things. He's the judge in the mornings, and all these cases are coming to him. So that's the symptoms of Kali Yuga. That's 5. So these symptoms are inhuman. Well, the definitely should not be present in an inspiring devotee. The solution is to engage ourselves in devotional service. So we do Shravan Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padsevanam, just serve the Lord and then we can focus on other things. If we focus on nonsense, then the mind will get disturbed, and you find most people are either always disturbed or occasionally disturbed. Mind is like that. Okay, so let's go to 6. Yudhishthiravacha sampreshito dvarakyam jishnu bandhu didrikshaya kyatum cha punya shlokasya krishnasya cha visheshtitam. Yudhishthiravacha, Maharaj Yudhishthira said, Sampreshta has gone to Dvarkayam, Dvarka, Jishnu, Arjun, Bandhu, friends, Didraksha, for the sake of meeting, Gyatum, to know, Cha also, Punya Shlokasya, of the personality of Godhead, Krishnasya, of Lord Shri Krishna, Cha, and Visheshtitam, program of work. So Maharaj Yudhishthira said to his younger brother, Bhimsen, I sent Arjun to Dwarka to meet his friends and to learn from the personality Godhead, Krishna, of his program of work. And yet he's not returned. In 7, Gatha Saptuna Masa Bhimasena Tvanujha Nayati Kasyava Heto Naham Vedadam Anajasa. So Gatha has gone 7 Aduna to date, Masa months, Bhimsen or Bhimsen, Tav Yo Anuj, younger brother, now does not Ayati come back, Kasya for what, Va O Heto, reason, no, not Ahem I, Veda no, Idam this, Anjasa, factually. So how useful these mobile phones are and landlines are, emails are. You can just message people, ring people, and get, especially in the Kali Yuga, like I said, we're already disturbed anyway. The last thing you want is worrying about your younger brother who should have returned months ago. At least if you got a phone, you can just ring him up and say, how long are you staying, or when are you coming back? So they didn't have that facility, so they can only worry. So since he departed, 7 months have passed, so that's a long time. Yet he has now returned. I don't know actually how things are going there. So I don't think he was meant to be there that long. Probably a month or 2 at most. And we'll go to 8. Api dvashinata dishtha sakalo yam apustita yadatmanongam akridam bhagwan utsi sarikshati. So Api Veda Dev Rishina, by the demigod Saint Narad, Adhistha instructed saw that Kalha, eternal time, Ayam this Upastita arrived, Yada when Atmanaha, of his own will, or own self rather, Angam, plenary portion, Akridham, Akridam, manifestation, Bhagwan, the personality of Godhead, Utskrishati, is going to quit. So is he going to quit his earthly pastimes, as Dev Rishi Narad indicated? Has that time already arrived? So as we discussed many times, the Supreme Personality Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, has many plenary expansions, and each and every one of them, although equally powerful, executes different functions. In Bhagavad Gita, there are different statements by the Lord, and each of these statements is meant for different plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions. For example, Shri Krishna the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever and wherever there is decline in religion, religious practice, or descent of Bharat or Bharat, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So to deliver the faithful, to highlight the miscreants. So that's the reason. So he descends, and then why does he descend? To deliver the faithful, to annihilate the miscreants and also to re-establish the principles of occupational duty or dharma. I appear in every age. So this is what Krishna has been telling them, and that's what he tells us in Bhagavad Gita 4.7, 4.8. If I should cease to work, then all humanity would be misdirected. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all sentient beings. So Krishna, he comes from time to time, he directly himself, or he sends his representatives just to keep an eye on the children who are misbehaving, just to put things in order. They have to come, sort out the naughty childs, help the good children, and put things in order. And when they are in order, they can leave. And whenever things go out of control again, then he has to come and sort out. Whether this is like, you see these three problems in schools, you see these problems in workplaces. If you have a lot of employees, sooner or later, there'll be like quarrels, friction between them, or they're just slacking, not really doing what they've been paid for. So you have to call them into the office and talk to them from time to time. Then everything is okay for a while, and then things go back again to the same. So Krishna, he's watching his children. He says, no, they've just forgotten me, and they don't understand why they're there. What's their real job? What's the real task in hand in the human body? I think I just send somebody down, send the managers down, or I'll go and speak to them myself and put things in order. And that's the way, that's the way it works with Krishna, and in the material world on a smaller scale. That's how it works. Things have to be put into order. Order has to be restored. If I should cease to work, then all humanity would be misdirected. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population. I would thereby destroy the peace of all sentient beings. Whatever action a great man performs, common men will follow. So he comes and shows by example, how to live. And whatever standard he sets, by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. And we've seen that, people follow their leader. They follow his lead. And the mood and the action and the speech will be very similar to the leader. All the above statements by the Lord apply to different planetary portions of the Lord, namely expansions such as Sankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna, Anirudh, and Narayan. These are all he himself in different transcendental expansions, and still the Lord has Sri Krishna, as Sri Krishna, functions in a different sphere of transcendental exchange with different grades of devotees. And yet Lord Krishna, as he appears once every 24 hours of Brahma's time, or after 8.64 billion solar years, in each and every universe, and all his transcendental pastimes are displayed in each and every universe in a routine spool. So it's like everything's cyclic with Krishna, he will, but it don't necessarily have to be like the exact time. It can vary according to his choice. But in that routine spool, the functions of Lord Krishna, Lord Vasudeva, etc. are complex problems for the layman. There is no difference between the Lord's self and the Lord's transcendental body. The expansions execute differential activities. When the Lord, however, appears in his person as Lord Shri Krishna, his other planetary portions also join in him by his inconceivable potency called Yoga Maya. So when Krishna comes, these planetary portions, they're all his energies, they all come with him. He comes as a whole. The Virat Rupa of Lord Shri Krishna, or Lord Krishna, is also different from him by his inconceivable potency. The Virat Rupa exhibited on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the material conception of his form. So it's an imaginary form. Therefore, it should be understood that when Lord Krishna was apparently killed by the bow and arrow of the hunter, the Lord left his so-called material body in the material world. The Lord is Kaivalya, and for him there is no difference between matter and spirit, because everything is created from him. Therefore, his quitting one sort of body or accepting another body doesn't mean that he's like the ordinary living being, because our bodies are created through karma, but Krishna can choose to take any body, any kind of body he wants. And he left his body in a material form. Here, although he's transcendental, he left it in material form of body on the in the material world. It's for the atheists as well. Krishna fulfills all desires. The ones who thought he was material, well, they want to stay in illusion. He's happy to let them stay in illusion. It's for them. Here you go. You were right all along. Yes, I'm material. So, that's the Lord Krishna of Vrindavan is different from the Lord Krishna of Mathura and Lord Krishna of Dwarka. So just read that again. His other plenary portions also join in him by his inconceivable potency called Yoga Maya. And thus the Lord Krishna of Vrindavan, who is the sweetest, is different from Lord Krishna of Mathura, who's just less, or the Lord Krishna of Dwarka. There he is in like awe and reverence in Dwarka, right? The Virat Roop of Lord Krishna is also different from him by his inconceivable potency. When the gopis met Krishna at Kurukshetra later on, all the families, they met together, and Radharani and the gopis, they saw Krishna, and they saw him with his crown and in all his glory, dressed as a king, and his body language was like of a king. He's talking like that. So they were disturbed by that. They wanted their Krishna. They said, this is not our Krishna. We want our Krishna who's a cowherd boy. He is dressed like cowherd boy, and they can like have a banter with him. They tease each other, tell each other off. This is a king. This is not our, the Krishna we know, isn't it? It's like that. Krishna of Dwarka is different. It's a different mood to the Krishna of Vrindavan. Where he was their friend, and he was their equal. They're all playing together. It's a different Krishna. Okay. The Virat Roop exhibited on the battlefield Kshetra is the material conception of his form. Therefore, it should be understood that when Lord Krishna was apparently killed by the bow and arrow of the hunter, the Lord left his so-called material body in the material world. The Lord is Kaivalya, and for him there is no difference between matter and spirit, because everything is created from him. Therefore, his quitting one sort of body, accepting of the body, does not mean that he is like the ordinary living being. All such activities are simultaneously one and different by his inconceivable potency. When Maharaj Yudhishthira was lamenting the possibility of his disappearance, it was just in pursuance of a custom of lamenting the disappearance of a great friend, but factually the Lord never quits his transcendental body, as is misconceived by less intelligent persons. Such less intelligent persons have been condemned by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, and they're known as the Muras, that the Lord left, or the Murak people, that the Lord left his body means that he left again his plenary portion in respect of dhams, transcendental abodes, as he left his Virat Roop in the material world. Yeah, so this is just to fool them, fool the fools who are easily fooled. So Krishna, he did that for them. Okay, that's what you want to believe. Then you're going to have to work hard to get to the stage of realizing the Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadulabha. So you have to get to that stage before you understand that Vasudeva is Lord Krishna and is transcendental. So that's 8. So Narad Muni, just going back, that Narad Muni had hinted to Yudhishthira Maharaj that soon as the Lord leaves, that should be the signal for you also to renounce everything. Not that they needed telling, they were already renounced. They ruled for 35 years after the Great War. They would have left despite, but Narada just wanted to hint to them that when Lord leaves, make sure you leave as well. All incarnations of Krishna are one and different from the Lord. They are also Krishna. So also that what we're talking about here, all incarnations of Krishna are one and different from the Lord. They are all Krishna, but they are all exhibit different potencies. That's the thing. It's like a powerhouse with transformers, whether it's like many thousand volts, and then you have like 440 volts, and then you have then 240 volts, because that's all that's required. You don't need 440 volts in a house to blow up all your bulbs. You only need 240 volts. Or in a industrial place, you need a 440 volt. 240 might not be, or 220 might not be enough. It's like that. So Krishna, according to what's required, where it's required, he comes with that kind of potency, although he has full potency if needed. So these expansions, they appear at different times to perform different functions. When Krishna as Swami Bhagavan appears, then all the other incarnations appear, including the Virat Roop. So all his full unlimited volts of energy, they come with him. Krishna has spiritual expansions, and Krishna has a material expansion, which is the Virat Roop. That's his material expansion. When Krishna goes back, all his incarnations go back with him. Only select few can see him returning, like Shiva and Brahma. So in his spiritual body, some people see him. As he returns, the incarnation return with him to their respective abodes. Because the Virat Roop is material, the first form Krishna leaves behind is the Virat Roop. Because he cannot take the material form with him into the spiritual world. Therefore, when Krishna left, he left his material form. Lord himself returns to Goloka, Vrindavan. And that's Lord Krishna, how and why he comes, and then how he leaves us. And Janma Karma Chame Devim. We should understand the glories of the Lord, his birth and death, how they work. They're like an ordinary person. He doesn't die and he does not take birth. He just appears and he disappears. Thank you so much. And let's have a discussion. We'll stop the Hina Mataji. Time's getting on a bit. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Lord. Thank you so much for the class, Prabhu. Thank you, and hope everyone's well. So my notes on these verses. When the defects of the conditioned soul, initially, so about how the conditioned soul is never satisfied, and this is, I guess, and the most prominent of these defects is the cheating propensity, and that these can only be overcome through the practice of devotional service. And the next verse was around how Yudhishthira Maharaj started to observe that all these bad symptoms had started to develop. He started to observe greed, anger, pride. These are all characteristics which today are very common. In Kali Yuga, it's almost normal to have these characteristics. It's almost a given in today's society. But I think it's good that we are aware that these are defects in us, especially me, and that these can, and that as devotees we can try to root them out. We can try to take some action to address them, and because we are aware that they are the bad characteristics. And then the more recent verse that you just covered around the Lord's Lila, which is constantly in motion, eternally, and that everything is his energy, and he himself, even when he was physically present, or when he is physically present on earth, his form is transcendental. And so Yudhishthira Maharaj was almost lamenting a little bit about that. Oh, Krishna, this is a sign of Krishna's disappearance is coming up. He took them as bad omens, but in the purport, it reminds Srila Prabhupada reminds us that actually Krishna's disappearance is not like an ordinary man's disappearance. But obviously he had that affection for Krishna, so he was lamenting like you would towards a friend, so, knowing that something might happen to somebody you know. So, but yeah, I guess this is now these verses are coming towards the end of Krishna wrapping up his lila. So, yeah. So those my observations. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's amazing. Like we're discussing the return, departure of Krishna, yet we'll go back again to Krishna's pastimes. Is right, whole canto full of leelas. And this is how Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam works. Krishna appears, Krishna disappears, and then we're left to talk about him and his leelas later on. Thank you, Mataji. Pundikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tanat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nothing much, Prabhuji, from my side. I just think like the people do not have a common goal, and that is why if nobody is satisfied with each other. Everybody have their own goal. But when you understand the scriptures, you understand that for the body, like as we say, body has its own duties, but soul has its own eternal duty. So if one understands that soul level, and everybody have developed that common desire, then there will be a point of satisfaction between each other. But otherwise, everybody tries to showcase here, like everybody works for own credit, our own satisfaction, and that leads to dissatisfaction between each other and having difficulties with each other. And when we talk about mystic power, Yudhishthira Maharaj, you're saying in the beginning that the symptoms of Kali Yuga, ideally we are seeing those symptoms now, actually, I felt, rather than that period before 5,000 years. But Yudhishthira Maharaj can see a very long time. So he could foresee what is going to happen after 5,600 years, just by understanding the scriptures, from what he understands from the scriptures and devotional power. And so that's a mystic power. Like people say mystic power means not doing any magic, but understanding the scriptures, that itself is a mystic power. Understanding the devotional service. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, and it's getting worse and worse. And next 5,000 years, what will happen? We've had two world wars, and there's always fighting going on between countries over one thing or another. It's either religion, piece of land, or pride. Why did you join this? Why did you join that? Always some reason or other to kill each other, kill the innocent people, destroy cities, countries. I don't understand it. Okay. Yes, Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Definitely, you can see that the way Bhagavatam is constructed, it's not a coincidence, because Bhagavatam is Krishna. And the dots join up, the jigsaw fits. However, we have to piece it together to make sense of it. And we saw Yudhishthira Maharaj have a weakness at the game of dice, because no game of dice, no Mahabharata. And it illustrates that, yeah, there was a weakness, but this was part of the Krishna's Leela. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was also a very shrewd and wise man, as we've seen in the previous verses, because he was able to assess very clearly that Krishna's departure had led to the arrival of Kali. The advent of Kali has been accompanied by hypocrisy, quarrel, cheating, violence, greed, deception, duplicity. He could see that these things were happening in the palace when he was coming across people. And of course, these were worrying times because Kali had set foot on Mother Bhumi. And so therefore that there had to be a rejuvenation of the fact that Krishna had left, but not his transcendental body. And that awareness has to be within all of us. Krishna never leaves. Krishna never leaves any of us. He has his perception on us. He has our back. He will never abandon us. And so in that way, it's about keeping that faith to deal with this age of hypocrisy and cheating and duplicity, which is evident even amongst relatives, even amongst family, even amongst husband and wives. Husband and wives are trying to, husband and wives are trying to do all sorts of things, having illicit relationships and having their partner trying to get rid of their husbands and so forth. This is the age of Kali. And it's about waking up and smelling the coffee. That effort needs to be made to deal with the imperfections of Kali, the imperfections of this material world. Dharma, and we called Yudhishthira Maharaj Dharmraj. Dharma gives us regulations. Dharma gives us the map to be free of Maya. And Dharmraj recognized that the negativity had fallen on very pious people. And we can see that this is affecting people, relationships, the world, and all sorts of shenanigans are going on. And this is why we need to be even more vigilant now than ever before to wade through the treacle of Maya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu. Yeah, as I was saying that, so Kali Yuga comes in, like a new employee. He's a devotee of the Lord. He's doing his job, is what he's supposed to do in the Kali Yuga. Because if the Kali Yuga didn't do his job, how would we get the holy name? He says that one thing good about Kali Yuga is that we got the chanting of the holy name that can solve all our problems. So if there wasn't problems on the other side, then holy name, we would appreciate it that we can just that after or despite all that problems we have, Krishna is giving us the holy name. So he's doing a job. And although I'm saying that Krishna, like after 5,000 years, really got his teeth into it now, but you could also understand that when a new employee comes, you can tell a new employee because they're very enthusiastic. they work the hardest, and then soon they realize that this is the other way of looking at it. They realize, okay, I've got to pace myself here. There's not going to get extra points for working too hard. So when they come in, they may try to make an impression. So Kali Yuga, I would suspect the same way, and he just comes in. As soon as Krishna leaves, Kali Yuga comes in. He wants to make an impression, and you can see the signs straight away that something is making a difference. It's not like it used to be. Krishna's gone. Kali Yuga is the king, or the Kali is the new king. So like that, he wants to make an impression as well. So yeah, but then once he gets used to it, then it works slightly different way. But it's a bit more really gets into the grassroots of things. Like I said, we're seeing now, the prisons are full of people with all sorts of quarrels and then so much mental problems. People, there's problems, short memory, short lives, short friendships, so Kali Yuga. Thank you, Prabhu, so much. Okay, all right. Ajay, I guess. Ajay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, nice points made by devotees. Yes, we are in the midst of Kali Yuga, and there's between each yuga there's a transitional period. So it's as explained by various devotees. You don't just go straight into the full impact. But for us as well, we're in the golden age of Sankirtan Yagya, Mahaprabhu's golden age. So we're still not feeling the full effect. You might look at outside in the world and think how horrific it is at times, but actually this is the golden period, and in the transitional period as well, haven't really completely kicked in as such. So
Yeah.
when they talk about the horrors of Kali Yuga, it's all to come yet. So that's why gurus tell us that Mahaprabhu's telling us get out while you can, because later on it gets really nasty. Don't wait for Kalki to turn up. Get going while you can. But there's one particular what's called line, actually verse 8 that stuck out to me, because I've been looking to understand if Krishna appears as himself in each and every universe. So I'd asked various scholarly speakers, various learned speakers, and they've given me not an answer necessarily wanted as such. Maybe they didn't have time to research it as such, so they couldn't tell me there and then. But in Prabhupada here has stated that Krishna appears as himself in each day of Brahma, in each and every universe. So Krishna is giving the mercy to everyone. It's not just us. Krishna's got to each and every universe. Granted, you're the fortunate one, you get to have Krishna's mercy in one way or another, but actually we get it through Bhagavatam as well. But yeah, it's there, the mercy's there, we just gotta take it, really. That's what it is. I mean, it's like if you take the mercy, then anything's possible, really. Just have anything you'd want, anything that's possible that Krishna desires, because when you make Krishna as your desire, Krishna desire your desire, shall I say, that's when it all takes off. Because when you're desiring for yourself, then that's when you can desire wrong things. But when you desire what Krishna desires, then everything comes together. Then it's with Krishna's desire that everything is sanctioned. So everything comes together, we cooperate together. What was seemingly problematic, what was seemingly issues of quarrel, suddenly everyone's happy, everyone's dancing. And you see during like Aarti or even during class, when sometimes people struggle with philosophy, but when you glorify the Lord, all of a sudden everybody's kind of ecstatic just by hearing his names, form, and pastimes. So yeah, just keep Krishna always at the focal point, and then everything just comes together. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's quite scary. Transition period, it's the golden period, and yet there's so many problems, and the best or the worst is still to come. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada wants us, scriptures want us, get out while you can, otherwise we get more and more difficult to leave.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, very nice. You all discussed your learnings, and yes, it's very scary when we say that it is golden period for us. It seems like that we're sort of hiding in this big scheme of bad things. We're just scattered a little bit here, a little bit there, like stardust. That's it. And I really like this explanation during the class that Krishna comes out to sort out his bad children, and I guess we have been really bad, but somehow we were shown some path in one of our lives, and that we followed that devotional service path, and we have been given again a chance to do that. And Krishna can understand the difficulties we are facing, and he's still given us this chance to at least try our like they say in the material world, try our luck one more time. in this life, that if we can do something better for ourselves, we are doing devotional service for Krishna, but actually it is for our own good. Krishna has provided everything to us, and we have to make the best of this, really bad bargain, this life. And we just don't want to put the hard work. That's our problem. But if we just persevere, we will go back in a better situation from this life. This is for sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We'll have the final session of this year on Wednesday morning. Please do join. It's Christmas Eve or Krishna's Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So we'll join on Wednesday, and then we'll join again on the first Monday of the new year, which I think is 5th of January. So one more. Let's meet once more, and then we can wish each other, Happy Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll do that on Wednesday. So look forward to catching with you all again and having this wonderful association, sharing our realizations, our findings, and thank you so much. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you all. Hari Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.